Good morning to you. It's laggy. Good morning. I got my coffee. I got my bowl. I got my willpower. Um, cover up my nips. There's a few ideas I've been I've been leaning on. Um, anyway, I've been reading this book. I mentioned it yesterday. Michael Moorcock, The Sailors on the Seas of Fate. Um, I'm getting more into the sort of fantasy, sci-fi. They're not really superheroes, but they're warriors. Um, but why I wanted to bring it up was this idea that kind of gets portrayed while they're defeating some sort of being, ancient entity. Basically, the entity isn't. It's like multiple things at once. The thing they're trying to destroy. It incarnates into some beast, separate beast, multiple beast. Um, it's also like mechanical, like the entity is in some of the forms it takes. It's mechanical. It's um, mist mist like. Uh, it's interesting. It's multiple forms. Um, I swear, every time I start one of these, I start yawning. But why? I'm thinking about that this morning. Um, was also in line with another video I watched, sort of like a philosophy um, type of YouTube video that I saw last night talking about liminal spaces and like the absence of life in them, but also like the presence in the sort of like the infrastructure, or not the infrastructure. I don't know if that's the word I want to use. The presence in the interior, um, the insides of these liminal spaces, while there's no one inside. There's no human life. There's just these spaces and you know these things we just built and left behind. That's what liminal spaces tend to be. And I think in our world, our time we find ourselves in, there's not any direct. You can't always see the idea of someone or a culture. It just kind of expresses itself, right? Why I bring this up? Um, Also, I bring this up. I'll tie this together. Is like I lived with a few roommates, and a habit that tends to happen is they fall asleep with their screens on, their Bluetooth headphones, and their phones are like 7 inches away from their face. So if you kind of tie all that together, you get to sort of projected energy in in multiple forms, and it can take multiple forms. Whereas our true reality as we know it. Many things are solid, they're not very interchangeable. But the things that are interchangeable are words and meaning and kind of your intention as you hold it. And, act your will, use your will. And I guess why this it's not that I can talk about it in terms of good or bad or right and wrong, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm try to go somewhere and figure something out, really. So I ask myself, how can I convey energy forms, entities that kind of take form in the imagination and the ideas and the realm of ideas. Where would that take us, really? It's weird to really consider how fast everything really changed in the span of a year, or in the not span, but in the context of a year that we acknowledge from, let's just say, the 50s to now, 1950s to 2020s. So much has happened, and I wouldn't even say it's a little time, but it's just in the grand scheme of our world. It's no time at all. It's really just something that it's nature growing, right? And I'm realizing that, how do I say it? I'm realizing that you can't quantify the changes in words. It would have to be described as more of like a thing that takes form in multiple ways. Sometimes my mind isn't always moving as fast, and I'm not always connecting the dots in my mind. But these sorts of videos or lives, they give me the space to just imagine a little more instead of just get really focused on my book or listen to an album or get into the writing and then go back to the watching some videos or something and repeating different processes like that. I think that what really needs to happen for me and a lot of people is imagination, a little more wandering, and I think to really comprehend why we don't wander and why we don't sit and imagine is because there are formless and formed energies and entities that are directly impacting you right now. And it's very easy to just throw a word on it, one word, call it this, call it capitalism, call it the government. And I just think it's too easy because it's not solving anything, it's just throwing a word at it. And when you don't limit yourself to an answer, a confined scientific answer or a confined reason, you begin to build parallel worlds that can help translate, your reality. And sometimes a much better way of being. And I guess that's what really sparked my interest with this book is the way they were describing these, these entities that were fighting the beast and how it was all one. Not necessarily a hive mind, but something that could interact with each other and on an intelligence level, and see what each other mean and have like a complete devotion to that sort of idea. There wasn't any sort of like autonomy. I could begin to question, um, or surrender their will to nothing or to themselves. They were very directed towards, you know, reacting. And with that in mind, I mean, you talk about reactions. Our marketplace is a reaction, one giant reaction. Our systemized culture is a reaction. And it feeds in itself. It feeds into itself, I should say. It's it's a loophole of reactions and responses that are not really autonomous. There's no like self autonomy. There's just go react like a part in a mechanical device. There's a great quote. It's like the whole represents, or the whole is greater than the sum of all its parts. I love that quote. And the whole sort of collective narrative, the whole mental image that I think is being dictated is a much, it's almost like kind of the whole response, I should say, is very reactive. I should say that. And the parts that make up the whole need to be, or not need to be, but are reactive. And when you're in a reactive state and you're not responding, there's no time to really process what the context is of what you're experiencing. I think if you really want to get into a fantasy world and translate some things, you should consider that a lot of the mythical or magical powers of characters or some worlds where there's telepathy or there's telekinesis, or, you're moving things with your mind or something, or you're not going invisible, but you're defying the natural laws, um, or knowing how to move in between them, I should say. And when you sort of look at what that is, and you begin to question how you would do it, how would you how would I say this? How would you be able to get someone to think something without you moving your body? How would you get someone to do something without you having to do anything, move your, use your any physical energy? You would, in my opinion, it would make sense to just have some sort of other thing. Do your will, act upon your will for the reasons of your desires. And when you really begin to look at it as that, you start to see that translation into your world, into our world, where these electronic devices, these screens, are literally implanting certain behaviors, certain ideologies, um, and certain actions, certain non actions. And I think where we're going with it, because right now I think we're very in control of seeking something else, seeking our own vision. We still have a lot of access to that, but we're gradually limiting and controlling our access to our downloaded information matrix of humanity. Soon, I believe that there will be the internet will cease to exist. There won't be websites like we know it. There will be an AI you basically type into or speak into, and it shows you whatever the fuck you want. It tells you you want information, you want to read about this, okay. You want to go into this world, okay. And we're already doing that to an extent. I mean, I really can't see it any other way. But I think what really kind of scares me about what's to come or what's happening. Oh, synchronistic moment, oh, it keeps going off. Let me get up. Um, in a way, is the alarm. Uh, I think we're understanding our predicament, but the weight of the control that has taken place is very heavy for one person. It's very heavy for even a few people. But these devices, these electrical entities that summon us, they become so personalized and individualized to the user where the user can't get enough of it. The user scrolls and scrolls and scrolls and listens and never steps out of the momentum of the electrical buzz. They find their home in the buzz and the scroll. They allow the electronics to literally think for them, to remember for them. It's, it's strange. I saw a video, just popped up as I opened YouTube to stream this. It was like about how like whatever the Gen Alpha kids can't read, unable to focus. And I don't think it's just the kids, man. I think I'm I think I can't focus at times, but I think older generations have it pretty bad. Like generations above me, I see a lot of lifeless characteristics and behaviors, and they're just so dependent on the screen, on some sort of comfort in it. And I don't know if comfort should be found in something that is so interchangeable. And you're not really in control of it. Strange one.